So there's been a civil war on the right brewing for a while. And basically the breakdown is you have like Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens. They represent one faction that's sort of loosely affiliated. And then the other faction would be, you know, Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro. You could probably throw Sean Hannity in that mix. And if we're being honest, Trump himself is more aligned with that faction. And it really, really all came to a boiling point this weekend because they had this Republican Jewish coalition, I believe it's called. So there was this event, and, you know, you had speakers like Randy Fine come and talk. Randy Fine is, of course, the congressman who literally called for nuking Gaza, yet somehow thinks he can go around tut-tutting other people, you know, as if he didn't prove himself to be the most immoral man on planet Earth right now, 700-pound fucking demon who lusts for dead Palestinians. I want to walk you through a bunch of what happened here because you have the Mark Levins of the world really, really decided now we're going in guns blazing, metaphorically speaking. So let me first show you this. Signs were held at the Republican Jewish Conference in Las Vegas saying Tucker is not MAGA during Representative Randy Fine's speech. So here, let me click on this. So they literally, just so you understand, the way this works is they had these made, of course. Like, this isn't like, you know, Steve in his basement was really passionate about being anti-Tucker, so he made a sign. No, this is, they had these bitches printed beforehand. No, they were going to hand them out, say, okay, yeah, hold these up. So now Tucker has become sort of like a lightning rod and a vessel for all of the anger and the ire from the pro-Israel right. Obviously him and Nick Fuentes, and Fuentes has, of course, been gaining in name recognition and prominence for a while now, also aided and abetted by the fact that Tucker had Nick Fuentes on, which until that point, it seemed like the Ben Shapiros of the world and the Mark Levins of the world, they were against Tucker, but they wouldn't let it all hang out, just how against him they were. But now, since he had on Fuentes, it's, forget it, now it's all systems go. So they're holding up signs, Tucker is not MAGA. And let me show you, Lindsey Graham was there, like a bunch of people were there. Let me show you what happened in some of these speeches. So let's start with this one from Lindsey Graham. Here we go.
But I just want to make it really clear, I'm in the Hitler sucks wing of the Republican Party.
You know, it's kind of weird, right? Because you're also in the Netanyahu is based part of the Republican Party, which is kind of like saying Hitler's based, right? Like, that's the problem, is that I'm against Adolf Hitler. He's bad. But I love Netanyahu, who's basically Hitler reincarnate. That doesn't make sense, bro. It doesn't make sense. All right, let's keep going.
What is this Hitler shit? I don't know. Anyway, here's what I do know. You can sit in a basement with weird people and say weird things. It's a free country, right? But if you ever run for office as a Republican and you embrace this weird shit, we're going to beat your brains out.
There are many ways to interpret that, but the way I look at that, it sounds like what he's saying is the Israel lobby is going to have a shitload of dirt on you, and we're going to leak it, and we're going to ruin your fucking life. If you speak out against Israel, we are going to absolutely destroy you by dragging up things you're hiding about your past, and we're going to make sure you are not allowed in the national discourse. That's what it sounds like to me. Now, the kind interpretation of it is, oh, we're going to crush you in the marketplace of ideas and show that since you're anti-Israel, you can't win on the right. But the problem with that is, among young Republican voters, that's actually not true. It's basically like, it's around 50-50. Maybe even it's a little bit above 50% that young Republicans are anti-Israel, right? The old ones, I agree. Their brains are cooked. It's fucking figgy pudding up there. And they're like, they'll support Israel no matter what. It's like fucking 70-80% of old people that support Israel in the Republican Party. But among young Republicans, so Lindsey, you might be right for now that you could just defeat them by saying, look, they're anti-Israel. But in the future, it's going to be your ilk that get defeated by saying, look, he's pro-Israel.
If you're an anti-Semite and you think because somebody loves Israel, their brain is wired, that means you got a brain. Nothing wrong with your brain. We will meet you on the battlefield of political discourse, and we will beat you politically. I want the world to know anti-Semitism, anti-Israel rhetoric, anti-Israel thought is not the road to being elected as a Republican. You will lose.
The thing I can't fucking stand is how they keep equating anti-Semitism and being anti-Israel. It is such bullshit Being anti-Semitic is evil and bad and wrong. Being anti-Israel is morally correct and just and right. But they conflate the things. And they did this on purpose. And by the way, that is anti-Semitic. Because what you're saying is all Jews are responsible for the actions of Israel. They're the fucking ethno-state, the apartheid genocidal ethno-state. And that's anti-Semitic because there's plenty of Jews who hate what Israel is doing, rightly so. All right, but I'm not done. We're just getting started. He also went on in this speech to say something like, we're cutting your taxes and we're killing all the right people. Like bragging about what? Blowing up innocent Venezuelan fishermen in the Caribbean? You're fucking, or attacking Iran illegally? Or Yemen or Somalia? Like, this is fucking gross. This is gross, but this is who Lindsey Graham is. This is the guy who literally said when he ran for president, got like negative 17 votes. He said, you don't leave Iraq. He was asked, so when do you leave Iraq? He goes, you don't leave Iraq. Like, he's not only has he never met a war he doesn't like, he wants to stay at these wars forever. Just a total disgusting prick, totally propped up by Israel lobby money and totally propped up by the military-industrial complex. Like, he's a total creation. He's a Washington creature through and through. All right, let's continue here. So Mark Levin, he now comes out and gives his speech in his whiny voice. He kind of sounds like Ted Cruz. Me, I'm Ted Cruz. Me. I don't know why anybody would want to listen to this guy, but he decides to lash out at both Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson. Let's watch.
Little Adolf. Fuentes. Little Adolf. He gets here, he's got a little suit on like he's attending a funeral. My advice to little Adolf is, just go full, put the brown shirt on. What are you, a coward? Put the brown shirt on. I know you can't grow the Hitler mustache, you're still stuck in your prepubescent stage, but give it a shot. Give it a shot. To Tucker Carlson, I say, did you have a head injury? What happened to you? But you know what, unlike other people, truly, I'm not a psychiatrist, I don't care why. I just know what you are. You platform these people, you deceive your audience, you lie to your audience, you become a full-blown, out-of-the-closet Jew hater. And if you're a Jew hater, you're a Christian hater. If you reject Judaism and Christianity, then you reject the American founding based on the Judeo-Christian values and belief system. If you embrace Hitler, if you play footsie with Hitler, if you think Hitler's misunderstood, if you think Churchill's the reason we had World War II, if you think Churchill was the provocateur.
By the way, he's bringing this one up because Tucker Carlson had on Darryl Cooper, and Darryl Cooper, he peddles this like soft World War II revisionism, and at times the mask slips and it's not even really soft. It's just flat out like out in the open, rewriting history and trying to make Churchill the chief villain, as he said, and sort of say, oh, bunch of Jews wound up dead because of Germany's policy, as if it was like a oopsie. So he has this guy on and he doesn't really push back. He doesn't really hold him accountable. So Levin is right that this is the sort of stuff that Tucker engages in. It's true. He does do that. Now, on the flip side, Tucker is correct to criticize Israel, and Mark Levin never has ever done that, and he never will do that. His beliefs are one and the same as Benjamin Netanyahu. So in other words, if you say, hey, I don't think Israel should bomb schools or hospitals or UN buildings or World Central Kitchen workers, he would say, you're an anti-Semite for saying that. This is how, absurd Levin's worldview is. But understand, both sides in this back and forth are trash. More in a minute, but let's keep going.
If you think those things, I don't want to debate you. I don't even care about you. That's not a legitimate position. These aren't powerful people. Seriously? These aren't intelligent people. These are lowlives that have platforms.
And what are you, Mark? What are you?
If we can't speak out against them and fight them, what good are we? Conservative institutions. We've been putting billions of dollars into conservative institutions for half a century. Now's the time. We're not interested in your white papers. We're not interested in your booklets. We're not interested in your donation requests. Unless now, when you're needed, you speak out and you do something.
All right, he's not done, though.
Hitler admirers, Stalin admirers, Jew haters, American haters, Churchill haters. You're damn right we're going to cancel them and deplatform them. It's called the market system. They don't have a lifetime job like a bureaucrat who we're going to protect. And if they're your friend, there's something wrong with you. No Hitler admirer, Holocaust denier, platformer should be anybody's friend, as a matter of fact. You don't get to wrap your psychotic, mental, unhinged, Nazi, Klan, jihadist bullshit around American patriotism. You don't get to claim you're MAGA and America first when you're lining up with the Marxists and the Islamists and Hamas and the terrorists. That's not America first. That's sick.
So look, there's one point here which it's hard for Tucker to escape and hard for Nick Fuentes to escape, which is that it is definitely true. Donald Trump is more on the side of Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro and Sean Hannity and all these people. 100%. He's the guy who bombed Iran. He's the guy who's giving Israel more money and more weapons as they kill more and more Palestinians. I mean, he's the one who did the whole fake ceasefire, fake peace deal, knowing Israel was going to go right back to murdering Palestinians, letting them go right back to murdering Palestinians. And so it's kind of hard for Tucker to get around that one. But it's interesting that Mark Levin literally says, we're going to cancel you. Yes, we're going to cancel you. Yes, we're going to deplatform you. Damn, bro. That's crazy. So Levin is correct to point out, certainly Fuentes admires Hitler. He's right about that. He's 100% correct about that. But Levin is wrong in that, as I want to reiterate this, he would accuse you of admiring Hitler even if you didn't. Even if you were like, hey, Israel should stop killing civilians. You love Hitler. And so you don't got to hand it to either side in this fight, which brings me to Ben Shapiro. So here we go. Ben Shapiro did this long 41-minute segment on Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes. They're both part of this. And let's play the end here a little bit for you. So most of it is literally like, here's a video of Nick Fuentes saying some crazy ass shit. Here's a video of Tucker Carlson saying some crazy ass shit. For like 80 to 90% of it, it's, you have Ben Shapiro showing clips that like I've showed on this channel, right? Namely him saying he loves, Fuentes loves Hitler and saying like, women shouldn't be able to vote and shit like that, right? And so I guarantee you, in the long run, this video will not be liked by the right-wing base. Why? Because many of them are super fucking radicalized and super fucking right-wing, and they have an actual fascist problem and an actual Nazi problem. Ben Shapiro helped create those people, helped create those little fucking demons, and now that you come out and say, well, I want you to go really far right, but not that far right, they're going to go, fuck you. Fuck you. No, you pointed us in this direction. We're going all the way, bitch. And so here's the conclusion of Ben Shapiro's thing, where he brings up, remember, the Heritage Foundation came out the other day, the head of the Heritage Foundation, and he basically said, this was after Tucker had on Fuentes, he said, look, we're not going to cancel Tucker. Tucker's still our friend, Tucker's still our ally, Tucker still works with us, and we don't agree with Nick Fuentes, but we don't cancel people, we fucking disagree in the battlefield of ideas, and so we're not going to back away from our support of Tucker Carlson. And that's sort of what led to all the, Levin going all in, fucking Lindsey Graham going all in against Tucker and Fuentes, where that was the main source of conversation there. They're trying desperately to make the right, force the right to continue to be pro-Israel from now until the end of time. That's what this is. So they view this battle as existential for the future of Israel, because if the Republican Party breaks from Israel, the Democratic Party, that's already over. Like, Democratic politicians and certainly future presidents are 100% not going to support Israel. Like, that's it. We've already hit peak Democratic support for Israel. Now it's going in the other direction for sure. But it may happen with Republicans. And so Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin are desperately trying to win this internal battle so that they can keep the Republican Party pro-Israel. And that's why it's so existential to them. But here's Ben Shapiro wrapping up. This is the conclusion of his piece against Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson. Watch.
Tucker Carlson had on Nick Fuentes and did not ask him a single question about any of this. He just brought him on to launder his ugly ideas and make him more popular. That doesn't seem quite like the act of a friend. Which, finally, brings us to the Heritage Foundation. Now, I have a long and admiring relationship with the Heritage Foundation, one of the very first outlets to pick up my syndicated column when I was 17 years old, 24 years ago.
Shapiro's actually right about this. He plays all these clips of fucking Nick Fuentes saying the craziest shit you've ever fucking heard in your life, and Tucker doesn't ask him literally any of the things, right? Fuentes has had stuff like, Hitler was really fucking cool. I admire Hitler. He played the clip of him doing flat-out Holocaust denial. He said, you have to, well, he didn't play this clip, but one of the things we've heard Fuentes say is basically, look, we got to mature and we got to like hide our power level and we got to infiltrate these institutions. But he said women shouldn't have the right to vote and boys and girls should get married as teens and we should be against women's rights. And he called for Catholic Taliban rule in America and he wants to go back to the Middle Ages. And he said give the death penalties to Jews and atheists and witches, and said, Shapiro played the clip of Fuentes saying all black people should be ashamed of crimes committed by others of their race, and white people are every single bit justified in being racist. And he said democracy is wrong. And so Fuentes, all these clips were played on Shapiro's show, and this is him saying, hey, Tucker, you didn't ask him any of these fucking questions of these, like, genuinely sick things that he believes and he advocates for. And it's because Tucker's scared of Fuentes, and he's cucking himself to Fuentes because they have some overlap in their audience, and they share an audience. And he got backlash when he made fun of Fuentes and called him a weird little gay kid in his basement. And so Tucker bent the knee, and this is Shapiro going, I'm not bending shit. Like, I'm fucking coming at you now.
Townhall.com, then a property of the Heritage Foundation. I know most of the leadership very well, and I have for decades. I know Kevin Roberts, and I like him, and I'm grateful for his contributions to the conservative movement. If you're a regular watcher of this show, you can check the interview I did with Kevin on the release of his book just last December. Which is why what Kevin Roberts did last week is tragic and awful. He put out a statement that Heritage Foundation didn't just stand by Tucker Carlson. Kevin instead said openly and repeatedly that Tucker Carlson can do nothing, ever, that will sever his relationship with the conservative movement. He said that after and in defense of Tucker's glossing of Hitler defender Nick Fuentes. And he added that only members of the globalist class, direct quote, a venomous coalition, direct quote, subject to the dictates of someone else's agenda, direct quote, oppose Heritage's ongoing relationship with Tucker Carlson, which means that according to Kevin Roberts, apparently, anyone opposing the ongoing mainstreaming of Tucker Carlson is acting on behalf of a foreign power. Kevin's statement is a betrayal of the Heritage Foundation's history and principles, which is presumably why both Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes loved it. And that's a tragedy, because America needs a robust conservative organization based on principle and ideas, not personal loyalty to bad actors like Tucker Carlson. We need strong leaders in the conservative movement, willing to speak out against the moral rot that threatens our future. I hope Kevin Roberts and Heritage show us that they can still be those leaders. But if not, we'll have to look elsewhere. So, why is all of this happening? Because, like the Democratic Party, the Republican Party is being eaten by its radicals. Many in the political class are too cowardly to stand up. Apparently, they're willing to play footsie with Groypers and hug Tucker Carlson out of fear of somehow losing support. They've been bamboozled by the lies of the X algorithm and the TikTok metrics. The left followed its radicals to electoral hell. Apparently, many on the right wish to do the same.
So there, you get the gist of it here. So look, the bottom line, Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin are actually correct. Fuentes does admire Hitler. He does love Hitler. He tries to pretend like that's not the case every now and then. But one of the things that I had actually admired about him is that at least he's honest and he says what he actually thinks, and he actually is a Nazi, right? And he says it, right? And that's, a lot of the fucking assholes are playing hide the ball. He wasn't playing hide the ball. Now, he just started playing hide the ball recently, Fuentes did, but he didn't play hide the ball for a while. So Shapiro was right in that criticism of Fuentes. Levin is right in that criticism of Fuentes. But Fuentes and Tucker are correct that you know who else is playing hide the ball here? Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin. Because at the end of the day, it actually does come down to, you guys are Republicans, you guys are on the right, and you don't support Israel. And that's the actual thing that they can't abide. Because we've seen it before. When Candace Owens was part of the Daily Wire, she had said outright anti-Semitic things. She said like, oh, if Hitler just kept it within his borders and he was just trying to make Germany great again, then everything would have been fine. But he went outside of his borders, and that was the problem. Like, she said some insanely stupid shit about Hitler. Fucking Ben Shapiro defended her. I think even at the beginning of the Kanye shit, when she was flirting with Kanye, you still had Ben Shapiro defending Candace Owens when he was going full anti-Semite, right? It only became, you're not allowed to do that, when Candace started criticizing Israel. Then it was like, oh, whoa, no. Now you're fired. Now get the fuck out of here. So Fuentes and Tucker are correct that that's the actual red line for Mark Levin and for Ben Shapiro and for many others in this camp. And so my overall takeaway, let them fucking fight. By the way, for all other lefties out there, you don't have to pick a side. When your enemy is destroying themselves, let them do it. You can point out how fucked up they both are and how wrong they both are. The reality is, Mark Levin said, I'm going to cancel these people. Honestly, my honest opinion at this point, they should all fucking be canceled. So you have fucking Fuentes and his wing loving Hitler, and that's fucking disgusting. But you have Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin loving modern day Hitler, Benjamin Netanyahu, and cheering on a fucking genocide of innocent Palestinians in Gaza. Like, all of those ideas, all of them, should be fucking beyond the pale. Should be like disgusting, pathetic, grotesque to all Americans. But no, this is the modern right wing, y'all. This is the modern right wing. Do you love the older guy who did the genocide in the 1940s, or do you love the guy doing the genocide now in Gaza? Because you gotta pick. Those are your two camps on the right. Love the old school genocide, hate the new genocide. Hate the old genocide, love the new genocide. Those are your camps. We are dealing with actual evil. We are dealing with actual fucking demonic stuff here. And there are no winners. Let them fight. Let them tear each other to shreds. Let them fucking, just self-immolate and make the right collapse in on itself, because that's where they belong, in the dustbin of history, because their ideas are trash and they lost their fucking moral barometer a fucking long time ago. And there are no winners. No matter who wins this internal battle, there are no actual winners, because it's going to be like pathetic, grotesque, vile people running the Republican Party either way. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.